Hi Pisces, welcome. This is Taurus Tours Tarot, and I'm Joy, your tour guide. And we are getting an energy reading for, for the month of July. But just know that, time is not linear. Time is parallel, and months, days, hours, those are human concepts of that help us in our day-to-day, right? But really, in the reality, in the world behind the veil, there is no concept. Time does not operate in that way. Time operates in more of parallels, where everything is happening simultaneously. And something that had come to me was, I had always asked, like, how does that happen? Time happens simultaneously, like, past, present, future is all simultaneous. And one of the things that came to me as a way of like kind of understanding it was like, the energy of everything that happened before this particular moment is an energy that is brought with us into this particular moment, right? So, if there were challenges in your past, such as abuse, that is an energy that you bring forward with you to this particular moment in time. So all of my experiences as a child have all moved forward with me to this point in time right now. And that is why also it is important for you to really be able to look at that energy that you're bringing forward with you into this moment, right? Into this moment, and examine that energy and examine what exactly it is that you are bringing forward with you. And if it is something that you do not necessarily want to bring forward with you, for example, if you are perceiving your abuse as a child as something really negative and awful, and caused all these problems in you, and you're bringing that energy forward, then that's exactly what your experience was and continues to be, right? But really, what you can do is examine that experience and transmute it. And so instead of viewing it through the lens of hardship and awfulness and just this terribleness that has affected you in all these negative ways, instead of viewing it through that lens and then thus bringing that energy forward with you to remain and exist with you in this moment, you can transmute it. You can look at that experience as like, wow, what did I learn from that experience? What did that experience teach me? My own personal experiences of abuse have really brought me to a place of, I understand, has brought me to a place of really being able to have more compassion for people. Would I have the same compassion that I have now for others if I didn't experience that quote unquote awful thing? I don't think so, right? I think that experience actually brought me to a better place, and therefore, thus, right, the energy that I'm bringing with me from the past to the present, to what I'm holding right now, is a very positive not necessarily, I don't want to say positive, right? Because we can't always just be positive, right? There has to be a balance. But anyway, the energy that I brought forward with me right now is this energy that has been transmuted from a negative, awful, horrible experience to one that is more in balance, to one that acknowledges that as something that was challenging, but yet is able to use it, to turn it around, to transmute it and use it as something that can move me forward in a more positive direction. Yeah. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, okay, Pisces, this is what it is for you. Here we have the 10 of coins. Of course, that's always a nice card to have. Yeah, 10 of coins. You know, this cord, why do I keep saying cord? This card is almost of like of legacy. I don't know why, but what I see with the big coin in the back, there's almost like this so there's this big coin here in the back, and for whatever reason I always kept seeing it as like a yen, or as money, right? Some kind of coin, with Asian coin, but definitely money, and big money, almost like money that is kind of carried through generations. But at the same time, there's almost this feeling of like, I'm also seeing mazes here in these coins. I'm seeing like mazes, you know, as if almost like you have to go and find it. Like you're kind of, you're stuck in this repeat cycle, almost like, you keep going down the same path, and it keeps leading you to a dead end. And so you need to find your way out of that. You need to find a new path that leads you to where you want to be, and provides this legacy for you. This and legacy, it's almost like what we were talking about before. It's like legacy is this energy that moves with you, right? It doesn't just exist in one single point of time. It's this energy that sort of moves forward with you. And what is the legacy that you're bringing forward with you? Yeah. And it definitely feels like some financial freedom there for sure, but also something that is moved forward through generations and generations. There's these diamonds here, right? And these diamonds are what keeps popping in is blood money, right? Like blood diamonds, right? Like how sometimes diamonds are harvested on the backs of basically slaves, right? Of basically like this cheap labor, or this labor under threat of annihilation almost, right? And so there's this energy coming through with this card that could go either way. It could be like, it's almost like, okay, this legacy of old money that that was obtained through it was obtained on the backs of others, right? Like this legacy money, this heritage money, this wealth that is passed on through generations, but that originated in like slavery or something like that, right? In like sweat shops, right? This money that was gained through very immoral ways, yet, and it's like it's passed on from generation to generation, but that it's like the generation that is reaping, I don't want to say reaping the rewards, well, kind of, right? But it's not necessarily like they're actually enjoying it, because I think that it's all kind of, there's this realization coming that this money that has been passed down through the generations, it's almost like there's this realization that it's it's almost like blood money, like dirty money, sort of, because it was obtained immorally. And so there's, on one hand, there's this feeling of this current generation who is, spending this money, who is enjoying the status that this money brings them, or the freedom that this money brings them, ignorant to where this money actually came from. That's on one hand. But then on the other hand, it's almost like this other group of people are aware that this money that they are using and benefiting from did come from immoral means, did come off of the loss of life of a perceived weaker group, right? And that it's no longer good for them. It's like, but this money is not necessarily just money. I mean, it's also like status too, right? It's almost like this status that was obtained through corruption and obtained through taking something from somebody else and leaving them depleted, so that this energy could be fulfilled, right? This other energy could be fulfilled. So anyway, I feel like there's a splitting, or so, like there's almost like there's a reckoning, and it's almost like the Judgment card, and it's like some people are becoming aware of this, like this benefit that has been passed through the generations, but that was obtained in very immoral ways. They're recognizing that system, that perpetuating system, and they don't want to be part of it anymore. But on the other hand, there's those that are not making that recognition, and are not doing anything to change. Okay, I know it's kind of strange, Pisces, but we'll see what that comes to mean later on. Okay, because next to that we have, okay, so the Six of Cups, which to me, and I'm not always looking at the cards together. Sometimes the cards are speaking immediately just by looking at one card. Everything is coming in, right? So, but this to me is just confirmation, because I do see the Six of Cups as kind of like a a past life kind of thing, or yeah, like a past life, or like a soul contract, or something like that. But that to me is, so anyway, it's just confirming that it is like this heritage thing, that it is this thing that gets passed on from generation to generation. Excuse me. So but of course, like, check this out, like there's a cross and a flaming heart in the bottom middle cup, yeah? And it's almost like it's almost like I'm feeling like something that may be being passed down through the generations, right, is not just the idea of money and status, but also religious dogma. I'm feeling like excuse me, there is this almost like this religious dogma that is also getting passed on from generation to generation. Oh, and racism, that's another example of something that gets passed on from generation to generation. And so and it's almost like this is saying that it's like the antithesis of love. I almost feel like this cross here, which I am interpreting as like religion, right? Why I do understand that it can be taken in other ways, but right now the energy that is coming across from it is religion, but that it's piercing it's piercing this heart. It's piercing this love that this cup is holding. It's piercing the love that really really needs to be at the basis of all that we do, right? All that we think, all that we say, and all that we do. But so it's like this dogma that is being passed down through the generations, and it needs to be let go of. It needs to be transmuted. It needs to be healed, so that it doesn't have that same energy attached to it anymore. Yeah. Religion is not necessarily a bad thing, but I think that over the years, it has become such that it is the basis for like a lot of war, right? And a lot of hate and killing, you know? Yeah. So anyway, so Pisces. Okay, so then we have the Two of Swords, and I think this just fits into this whole message that you know, was coming through already. And so I'm feeling like this is really communicating a choice that has to be made. This Two of Swords is really communicating a choice that has to be made. And the choice is, you know, are you going to continue with this legacy of, or this you know, this generational passing down of hatred, or are you going to transmute that energy and cut it off right there? Like, be the first person in your generation that like cuts it off right there and says, no, I'm not gonna bring this forward with me. I'm not gonna bring that energy of hatred forward with me to exist in this moment. Instead, I'm going to transmute it, and I'm going to understand it. I'm going to understand that shadow side of my history, of my, you know, my familial history, of my you know, cultural history, whatever it is, right? I'm going to understand that hatred, and I'm going to turn it into something else. I'm going to understand it in a way that allows me to transmute it and bring it forward with me in a very different way, in a way that is more based in love as opposed to hatred. Okay, that's the choice that you're making right now. That's the choice you're making. Yeah, and it is like this crucial choice to make, right? It's almost like you know, it's almost like, okay, what side of the fence do you stand on, right? When we look at this injustice that is happening, not just in our own country, but around the world, our fellow human, right? Our fellow humans are also suffering from similar injustices, similar racial injustice, class injustice, you know, whatever it is in different parts of the world. This energy that we're experiencing, you know, in the United States and in different nations of injustice, it's not just an energy of a black versus white. It's not just a racial energy of injustice. It's this energy of injustice that tries to that exists, not tries to, but that exists in all different kinds of ways. But when it comes down to it, it is still injustice. It is still coming from a place of hating something or someone because of the perception of what they might stand for or something like that, and the lack of recognition that the truth is that we are really just one. We're all one, right? The same way someone in, you know, a lighter skinned ethnicity, right, might have blue eyes, brown eyes, you know, gray eyes, green eyes. They are still can be of that ethnicity, having those different color eyes, right? And so we are still of the human race, having different colored skin, having come from different places, having had different experiences. Beyond that, we are still just humans. We are still the human race. We are still one. Okay, and so I feel like this to me is saying like this is kind of a confusing time for you, Pisces. Like it's coming to me like that this choice that you have to make about like what you want to move for, what you want to bring forward with you as you evolve, as you move into the future, what you want to bring forward with you, right? Is it love or hate? Like this question, it's not so black and white for you right now, because there is all of this attached to it. There's this legacy, this history, this familial restraints that is attached to this energy, right? And so it's a bit confusing for you. It's not so black and white for you. It's a little bit confusing for you. Like it almost seems like there is not just this this choice of one or the other. It's almost like you feel like there's all these other different options that these different directions that you can go in. And what I'm hearing is, do not be confused by this. Do not let this these different options, these different paths stray you from what is really important. And what is really important is making the choice, right? What are you gonna engage in life? You know, bringing forward hate or bringing forward love? That's the only question that really exists for you, Pisces. So don't get too confused with familial history or you know, like heritage or you know, things that have happened in the past. Like don't get too caught up in those categories or boxes of you know, of stuff, right? Like it's just stuff. It's just stuff. Ultimately, the only thing that you really have to decide for yourself is, what are you going to bring forward with you? Is it going to be love or is it going to be hate? That's it. Okay? Don't lose sight of that question for you. Okay? All right. Okay, Pisces, that is what it is. Yes, overall it does feel a little bit turbulent for you. It does feel a lot of like questioning, a lot of thought, a little bit of you know, challenging, but man, I just can't say enough how it is like through these challenges that comes the most profound understandings. Yeah, and I feel that that's really what is in store for you. Okay, alrighty, so yep, that is what it is. So aloha, Pisces. You know, take care and namaste.